Okay, we're up to Berachos Daf Yomi. We're beginning from Tes Zayin Amid Beis. We are by the right above where it gets wide, the two dots. And we're going to go through an Amid of different tefillos that people would say after Shemini Esrei, and different tefillos that they would say that they were accustomed to saying. All the words of Derech Eretz and Bakashim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Elazar Basa the Messiah Tzlusa. Rabbi Elazar, after he finished davening, he would say the following: "Here is Someone Hashem Elokeinu that you should go ahead and Tashkein Pipurenu. You should live in our chelek, in our lot. Ava v'achva v'shalom v'reyos. V'sarbe gvulenu b'talmidim. And our gvul, our boundary, should go ahead and have more talmidim. V'satzliach sufeinu achris v'tikva. And our ren should be prosperous and full of tikva, of hope. V'tassim chlokenu b'gan Eden. V'saknenu b'chavatoy v'yetzatoy b'lamecha. We should have a good friend and a good yetzer in this world. V'nashkem v'nimsa v'yichalu v'veinu v'yira shemecha. That we should get up every morning and desire to go ahead and fear your name. And there may be that our needs and the kiyum should all be for good. Rabbi Yochanan Basa the Messiah Tzlusay. This Rabbi Yochanan, that was Rabbi Elazar's tefillah. Rabbi Yochanan Basa the Messiah Tzlusay. Rabbi Yochanan, when he was finished tefillah, Amahachi would say the following: Here it's Alfanecha Hashem Elokeinu shetatzitz bibashtenu. You should look at Abusha. V'tabeit b'rasteinu. You should see how bad things are for us. This is slabesh b'rachamecha, and you should go ahead and attire yourself with rachmin and with rachmanis. This is chase buzecha, and you should go ahead and your midah of ois should go ahead and you should go ahead and cover yourself with that midah. So this atit b'chasidusecha. You should wrap yourself up in your piousness. This is azer b'chaninusecha, and tie yourself with your graciousness. V'savel l'fanecha midas tuvecha va'avanusasecha, and your midah of goodness and another should come before you. Zera Basa the Messiah Tzlusay, when he finished Esrei, Amahachi, he was Ratzon Nafanecha Shem Elokeinu Shlei Nechta. We should sin. Nobody should be ashamed, or disgraced before our fathers. That we should be occupied with Torah, and we shouldn't be in pain. Our hearts shouldn't be in pain. And our eyes should not be darkened. Rav Basat Slusa Amahachi. This is what we might recognize. Here is some of Hashem Elokeinu. Shetitan lanu chayim aruchim, long life, chayim shel shalom, peace, chayim shel taiva, goodness, chayim shel bracha, chayim shel parnasa, chayim shel chilas atzamas, health, chayim sheish ben yirascheit, chayim shel nahabusha chlima, like we bench Rosh Chodesh, chayim shel oishav kavod, chayim shel teibanu havastar v'shamayim, chayim shel tamali lanu es kol mishal tzemenu l'taiva. Beautiful tefillah. Rabbi Basa Tzlusay Amahachi. Rabbi, if he finished my essay, would say the following: Here some Fnech Hashem Elokeinu, they were saying, "Shed Tatzilenu mi'azei panu mi'azes panu." Save us from azes panu. Usually, azes panu are people who are goyim or from mamzerim. People have a terrible needs. May Adam Ra, may Pegara, from an evil person, from an evil meeting. May Yetzahara, may Chavara, may Shachin Ra, may Satan Amashkes, from any Satan that can destroy us spiritually. We did kasha, from legal judgments. Ben shu ben bris, whether it's a Jew, ben shu ein bris, not a Jew. Rafagav the kaimut chitzusela. The Rebbe would say this, even though there were gods who guard Rebbe all the time. The Rebbe was a compatriot of Antoninus, the leader of the free world Marcus Aurelius. More discusses their relationship, and despite the fact that Rebbe was protected, he would die. Rav Safra Basa Tzlusay Mahachi. Rav Safra, after he finished Master, he would say the following tefillah: Yiratzim Ufnech Hashem Elokeinu Shetasim Shalom, that you put peace. The Pamalia Shalmaila, Pamalia, that's Hashem's in the council above. Upamalia Shalmata, that means the Sanhedrin below. not the Sanhedrin, but Talmid Chacham, Ubein Talmidim Oiskim b'Torah Sech, and the Talmidim Oiskim Torah, Bein Oiskim Lishma, what they're doing the Lishma, Bein Oiskim Shloi Lishma, Kol Oiskim Shloi Lishma, Yiratzon Shei Oiskim Lishma. It means it's really that should be Oiskim Torah Lishma. Rabbi Xanjia Basit Silusei Mahachi, he would say the following here: so if Hashem Elokeinu Shet Tamidenu b'Keren Oira, put me in a literally an illuminated corner. The Al Tamidenu b'Keren Chashechad, not a dark corner. We should be illuminated with I guess the darkness of the gullus. Val Yidveli Benu, and our hearts shouldn't be pained. Val Yechsu Einenu, nor our eyes dimmed. Ikkenyam, others say this was the tefillah of right. Rav Hamnuna, Rav Hamnuna adapting this way, but not Alexandria. What was Alexandria's tefillah? Alexandria, Basad the Mitzvah Yamahachi. Rebbeinu Elamim, Golev Yidul Fenecha, Sheritzonenu Lasais Ritzoncha. Our ratzon is to do your ratzon. That's what we want to do. Our ratzon is to do your ratzon. Right? That's the famous Rambam that you can force someone to give a get. A get has to give you the ratzon because you really want to do the ratzon of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, right? You want to do what Hashem wants. It's the Yetzer Hara tells you not to. Cool. Who stops you from doing this? It's literally the yeast in the dough. The Yetzer Hara gets mixed into everything. The Shiva Malchuyas, and the fact that underneath the subjugation of what of Malchuyas, you ask them of Necha Shetzasen, the Yodam save us with them. And Noshav Lasas Senecha B'Leiv showing that you should be able to go ahead and do your chukim v'ratzon with a complete heart. Rava Basit Silusi Amahachi. Achlein Netzati, and the Kedai might also be familiar with. We say it on Yom Kippur. Achlein Netzati and the Kedai. Until I was formed, there wasn't Kedai that I'd be formed. Achlein Netzati, Kiluloid Netzati. Now that I'm here, it's not because I shouldn't be here. Afani B'Chaya, I'm dust on my life. Kavachim Yusasi. Hariyel Fenecha Kli Mali Busha Klima. I'm like in front of you like a kli that's filled with shame and humility. Yiratzon Fenecha Hashem Elokeinu she'loi echta oid. I shouldn't sin again. And any sin that I did do. Rabbi, you should go ahead and cleanse. Not through Yisurim or illness. This was the vidui of Ramnuna Zuti on Yom Kippur. And we say it after a while, Yalchetz. Mabrid Ravina ki have Messiah Tzlusei. When he would finish davening Mabrid Ravina, Amahach, he would say the following Alakai. Nisolashon Meirah. God, my lips from evil, my tongue from evil, my lips from speaking deceitfully. Those who curse me, let them be silent. I should be like dust to everyone. I should chase after mitzvahs. Save me from any pegisha of evil. We call Royce Havasrashas of Oilam, this feels a derech of fame. Anyone who has plans against me, the Hera Hafer at Sassam, go ahead, please, and override them. The Kalkal Machshavasam, and to go ahead and be Makalkal, their thought process. You have no idea how many times we say this tefillah. We have no idea how many times we're saved by the different evils that people conspire against us. Every once in a while, something happens. You see what the Goyim want to do to the Jews. I think they want to do it all the time. It's just like Kadosh Baruch Hu Taka listens to our tefillas. Rav Sheshes ki have Yosef Panisa. So now we're going to have tefillas. We finished the tefillas of Shmona Esrei, different tefillas. Rav Sheshes ki have Yosef Panisa. When Rav Sheshes was fasting, when he finished Basa de Matzlei Amahachi. After he finished Shmona Esrei, he said the following: B'nei Lamim Galu Fenecha Biz Manshe Beis Hamikdash Kayim Adam Chayte Makav Carbon. The person would go ahead and he would bring a carbon, right? Ve'emak Riv Mimenu Ella Chelbo. So a person, person doing a very bring a carbon, and the parts that go to Hashem is the imurim, that consists of the inner parts, fats, and various internal organs, kidneys and such, kidneys, and the dam that was sprinkled, and that would be a kapara for him. Says Rav Sheshes, I just sat in Tainus, and as a result, my fat and blood have been diminished. So you hear something that my fat and blood have been made less. View it as if I was marking myself on Mizbeach, and just like your carbon is meratza, is accepted, so too you should accept my Tainus. When he finished learning Eiv, right? Amahachi, it'd say the following. Now, Eov had a hard life. Amahachi. Safe Adam Lamas. The man, at the end of a person's life is going to die. The safe behema, the shchita, in the end of an animal, he's going to die. Kol lemisa heimandim, and everyone is going to die. Hashem mi gadol b'Torah, Ashrei mi shegadol b'Torah. Fortunate is the one who grew in Torah, va'amalei b'Torah, who toils in Torah. Right? That's the bottom line. All there is at the end of the day is amelis b'Torah. The gadol b'shem toiv, v'nifta b'shem toiv min ha'olam. He grew up. He had a good reputation growing up, and he leaves the world with a good reputation. Shlomo says about him, Toiv Shem Mishem and Toiv, better is a good name than good oil. The day of death than the day he was born. You had a lesson that Rabbi used to say all the time. Learn with all your mind, with all your heart, and with all your soul. The Da says, to know my ways. The lishkoid al dalse terasi, go ahead and be lishkoid. I don't know, the art school types of industrious. Be shocked all the time. The world to do us a Torah. Mitzar terasi melibcha, God, that my Torah in your heart. The negative necha tia yerasi, and let my fear be before your eyes. Shemar picha mikol chay, guard your mouth from all averis. The Torah v'koch atzma mikol ashma v'aven, and purify and mekadosh yourself from all averis. And I'll be with you in every place. These are the Rabbanim of Yavne after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Second bias, they went to Yavne. But this was these were the sayings that they would say. Ani Beria, the Chaveri Beria. I'm a Beria. I'm a Beria. I'm a person. I'm a creature. But I'm a second Torah. The Chaveri, who is an Amma Aretz, he's not a second Torah. He works in the fields. Ani Malachti Be'er, who Malachti B'Sadeh. I work in the city in the Beis Medrash, and he works in the fields. I need mashkin malachti. Each one of us goes up to do our work. He doesn't desire to distinguish himself from my work. Maybe you're going to say, maybe the reason he doesn't distinguish himself because he knows he can't. And he only learns a little bit. Guess what? Whatever you do, be machab b'shamayim. If you learn a little Torah, a lot of Torah, it should never be to go ahead and augment yourself. It should always be for Kodesh Baruch Hu. Margla de Pumei Debaya. This was a statement that was attributed to Abaya that he used to say all the time. Should be cunning in the sphere of Hashem, right? Different ways to go ahead and fight the Yetzer Hara. Mane Reich Meshiv Chema. A gentle reply turns away anger. Umar b'shalom im echad im krayvav im kol adam. Umar b'shalom with what? With peace with your brothers and your relatives and every man. But feel in Rachi b'shot, you should even kind to a guy in the street. That'll cause you to be beloved above, v'nechma l'mata, and desirable below. Being makubal al brios, and therefore all people will like you. And on that note, Amar Lav Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, dimu adam shalom yolam. No one ever beat him to the punch. He would always say shalom aleichem, good morning, whatever, Safadim Aritav, whatever he spoke, he was the first one, right? Bafilu Nachi B'Shuk, he would even do this, greeting a Nachi in the street. Just remember the story when I was learning the Gemara. There's an unbelievable book that I recommend everyone to read called Hasidic Tales of the Holocaust. It was, now there's a lot of Holocaust books, but in the 70s, the Holocaust was not spoken about, but there was a professor in Brooklyn College named Yafa Eliach, and she had to pass the course, what one had to do, you had to go ahead and bring in a report of a Holocaust survivor that you went ahead and interviewed. That was his work for the course. He interviewed Holocaust survivors. She took it and compiled it into a book called Hasidic Tales of the Holocaust. Many of the tales were Hasidic, and many of the tales come from the Blusha Rebbe, Zechet Tzaddik Kodesh Russia. I forgot his first name, Spira. The Blusha Rebbe, he was nifted in 1975 at the age of 100. The Blusha Rebbe was in the camps, and the Blusha Rebbe, when he would be walking along every morning where he lived, he would take a stroll, and there was where every lived was a Volkdeutsch. There was a German who was not living in Germany. I think he was in Poland, the Blusha Rebbe, and he would say to him, "Good morning, Herr Mullah." The Blusha Rebbe would greet him, "Good morning, Herr Mullah," and the Herr Mullah would turn to the Blusha Rebbe and say, "Good morning, Herr Rabbina." And this went on for quite a while. Every morning he'd take a stroll, and he would greet this farmer working in the field. Fast forward to a concentration camp, and there's a person in a black SSR outfit, uniform, and he is at the top of the line, and he is making decisions about who lives and who dies, giving them different jobs. The blue shirt Rebbe comes to the front of the line and takes one look and says, "Good morning, Herr Mullah." The German looks up and says, "Good morning, Herr Rabbina." And he took care of the blue shirt Rebbe. He said, "What happened to your family?" And he was distraught to hear that they'd murdered, like he wasn't part of it. The crazy thing, here this German, this Nach Shemainik, right, the Nazi, hating Jews. But good morning, Herr Rabbina. Good morning, Herr Mullah. What a difference it made in his life. You want to know the effect of a good morning, of being Magdim Shalom, but feeling Nochi Shebeshuk. Look how it saved the Busha Rebbe's life. Magla Puma de Rava. Tachlis Chachma. What's the purpose of Chachma? Tshuva Meisim Taivim. Tshuva Meisim Taivim. That's the purpose of Chachma. Use your Chachma for Tshuva Meisim Taivim. A person doesn't read and learn Torah, and then what happens? And then he rebels against his father, his mother, and his teacher. Or anyone who's greater than Chachma or Minyan. Shnemar, Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem, Seichel Tov V'Chol Asei, and Reishis Chachma, the beginning is the fear of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and good understanding to L'Chol Aseyim. La'osim, it doesn't say to those who do, but La'oseyim, but to their, not to those who do, but to their do. La'os L'Shma, to the ones who do L'Shma, La'os L'Shlai L'Shma, V'Chol L'Shlai L'Shma, anyone who learns Torah Shema, it's better than he's not being born. So this is a very famous, contradictory to famous Chazal. Loyal miyasek adam Torah Shloi Lishma, mitoy Shloi Lishma, Ba Lishma. And over here it's saying if you're ising Torah Shloi Lishma, better that you shouldn't be born. So the last place was on the page addresses it. Then Toimar, Rabbi Yehuda Marav, a parak Makom Shinagu. Loyal miyasek adam Torah Shloi Lishma, Shemitoy Shloi Lishma, Ba Lishma. So how can it say over here if you're ising Shloi Lishma, better that you should be born? Yishleim the Hachor over here, Myri Sheina Loimed El Kanter Chavero. The reason he's learning over here is just to fight. He's not learning at all. He just wants to go ahead and get into heretical arguments with his friend. So that person better not be born. But Hassan Myri Shleim El Mashe Yechmeduhu. He's learning Shalai Lishma. He's learning for a little kavod. He's learning for a little kavod. Ultimately, the person learning for a little kavod. We try Shalai Lishma, Ba Lishma. Right? I heard from Volbazatzal that. How long should a person learn Shloi Lishma? He goes, like till 30. Like, why? Because you need a shidduch. For shidduchim is that Shloi Lishma. The Shloi Lishma, as long as you're not to do it for derogatory reasons, to go ahead and find negativities in the Torah, then it's okay. Because again, you're not learning Torah for its sake, but you're learning what the Torah can do for you. But to go ahead and be Makanta, to go fight against Torah, that already better that you're not born. Magila Puma the Rav. This is what Rav's comment saying was, look, like it's not the same. There's no eating, there's no drinking. Like there's no procreation. There's no business. Like kinav, like sinav, like tachlis, there's no jealousy, there's no hatred, there's no rivalry. The tzaddikim sit and they have the crowns on their heads. The nenemis of Ashchina and the nena from the radiance of Kodesh Baruch Hu Shnemar v'yechazu es alakim v'yochelu v'yishtu. It says by Har Sinai that the Canaan, they saw Kodesh Baruch Hu, and they drank. That means they didn't have to eat and drink; they were satiated from the ziva l'shina. Rav also said, "Gedoy la'avtacha shefticha Kodesh Baruch Hu v'anoshim yosem and anoshim." Greater is the avtacha that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave to the women than to men. Shneimar, it says, "Noshim shananais koimna shamna koili." Women that are shananas, they're at ease, and it says, "Bonos boitchos hazenim masi." Daughters who are betuach, they're confident. Listen to my words. So you have two things it says by women. Shananois, it says that you're at ease, and it says boitchos, and it says that boitcha. So it says that that you're that women are confident in this world to get to the next one. Rav Lebchia. Noshim b'mayzachin. How are women zeicha? Be'akruye b'nayu lebekinishta. By going ahead, taking their children to the yeshiva, they used to go to shuls to learn. Sending the husbands to learn. Waiting for the husbands to come back. So it's what exactly is the question? What do you mean, woman? Why are they zeicha? So a famous question is, women are mechuyev in all mitzvahs essay shelo yazman grama. They're mechuyas in every mitzvah say. So l'chayr, women have plenty of mitzvahs that they can be zeicha to. So the answer is given. Kiner mitzvah v'Torah are. Mitzvah is limited to a ner, to a candle, but Torah is to an or, to a torch. So a woman who's not mechuyev in the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, she doesn't have to torch a Torah. How does she attain, therefore, what the benefits of Torah is? By making sure that she helps her family learn Torah, her sons and her husband going ahead. So that's one way to learn Pshat over here. There are two other things over here. I saw from the Aris Tabash from Yochanan Ibis Zechet Tzadik Chodesh Lebracha. He says the word of the Ma'izachya means lashon. How do you win over? The Gemara tells us in Kedushin, Yetzirah, Barasi Torah Tavlin. I created Yetzirah. I created a Torah Tavlin as a means of not going ahead and fighting the Yetzirah. So if a woman is not Makayim in Talmud Torah, Ma'izachya, how can she fight the Yetzirah? The answer is by sending a child to raise medrash and a husband and waiting for him to come back. That's one way. That's what one kasha. The Chidah says women, men of Amaratzim will not come back by Tchias HaMesim. So therefore, how will women? That's the Ma'izachya. How do they learn by Tchias HaMesim? How do they learn? And again, the answer is sending the child to learn and the husband to learn. So beautiful Gemara, famous Gemara, and again. Any woman listening to this, any kesha they have to Torah, the kesha that can help their husbands learn. Baruch Hashem, I'm to a wonderful, wonderful wife. All she cares about our whole marriage is that I learned. She never stopped me from learning, no matter what, ever. She should. That's because she had Arichas Yamim, be zeicha to that baby. Have you missed the Rabbanan Ravami when the Chachamim they will leave each other? They say was they list the yeshiva Reb Chia, not from the yeshiva Ravami, but the yeshiva Reb Chia. They would take leave of each other. This is what they would say. By lomcha tira b'chayecha, you should see you shall see your world in your life. The funny lashon, you should see your world in your life. That everything that you need in this world should be fulfilled. And your end should be in Olam Haba. And your hope should be for what? For many generations. Mashiach and Tchias HaMesim. Libcha yeget tfuna. You should go ahead. Your mind should think about and to understand. Picha yidar b'chachmos. V'lashoncha yakish v'nanois. Your tongue should sing. Afapecha yashviu negdecha. Your eyelids look before you. Einecha ya'iru b'mar Torah. Your eyes should be lit up by the light of Torah. Upanecha yashiru b'kizayra kia. Your face should shine like the brightness of the sky. So yabiu das, your lips should go ahead and speak Torah. Your kidneys, they should go ahead and live in righteousness. And your steps, your roots should want to hear the words of the ones of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So this is a beautiful tefillah that we, again, in Yom Kippur, when we bless our sons and daughters, we incorporate. When the Rabbanan would take leave of Rav Chisda, the other say from the yeshiva Shmuel Achmeni, they'd say, Alufenu misubalim. Our leaders, they're loaded up. And what does that mean? Alufenu misubalim. The first one is Alufenu is referred to tzaddikim. Rabbi Shmuel, the Imri Law, say Rabbi Yochanan and Rav Lazar, machlokes. Chad Amar, Alufenu, what are they loaded up with? Is b'Torah. And misubalim, it's our leaders are Torah. Misubalim, the mitzvahs, they're loaded with mitzvahs. The Chad Amar once says, Alufenu b'Torah uva mitzvahs. They're both loaded with Torah mitzvahs. And they're loaded up with Yisurim. That's one way to go ahead and learn. One way to learn is speaking about tzaddikim. There's another way to learn. It's not speaking about tzaddikim. The pasuk continues again. The exact pasuk. Give me that. So we dash in the first part of the pasuk, Alupeinim Misubalim, either Torah or Misubalim mitzvahs, or Torah mitzvahs Yisurim. Ein peretz vein yoitzes vein tzvacha berchavayaseinu. There's no breach, there's no going out, there's no screens in our streets. So we're going to dash in the rest of that pasuk, right? We're going to dash in the rest of that pasuk. Ein peretz, what does ein peretz mean? Shleik the hey siyaseinu kisiyase shel dar shiyatzim menachi taifa. David shiyatzim menachi taifa. Siyu is referring to the compatriots you hang around with. You're in a council, the people you're with. So there should not be coming out from us someone like Achitophel. Achitophel was was David's advisor. He was part of the rebellion that rebelled against David by Avshalom. He happened to be Avshalom, Bathsheba's grandfather, and held Bathsheba bas Eliam bas Achitophel, and he held that David was guilty in the Maisa with Bathsheba. He helped rebel. He helped Avshalom rebel, and he died at 33 or 34, half his life. The Ein Yotzis, and Pasuk says Ein Yotzis, who's that referring to? Shleitei Siyasenu, that our people that we hang with should not be Kiyasenu Shel Shol. Sheyetzimenu Doeg Adomi. Doeg Adomi was the one responsible for trying always to place hatred jealousy between David and Shaul. He was Shaul's advisor. He was the greatest Torah scholar of his generation. He didn't die anymore, and Chelek says until he forgot all his Torah. He was responsible physically for destroying. He spoke Lashon Hara on the Achimatz, the Kohen Gadol of Nov, and as a result, Shaul commanded him to go ahead and wipe out Nov Ger Kahanim, which he did do. He also died. He's listed as one of the people who has no Chelek Me'al Haba in Masechta Chelek, in Masechta Perek Chelek. The Ein Tzvacha Shleitei Siyasenu Kisiyasa Shel Elisha. Right, that Elisha was what he was always. Who helped Elisha is Gehazi. Shiyatzimenu Gehazi, and Tzvacha refers to crying out. Gehazi ended up being a Mitzayir. Taisus means Mitzayir has to cry out. Tamei Yikra. Berachos Seinu, the last word of the pasuk. Shlei Helonu ben Talmud Shenakadiach Hafshila Berabim Mishnav ben Talmud. Literally, who burns his Hafshil Berabim, who publicly makes the Chil Hashem. Okay, the pasuk says Shimu Elai Abire Leiv Harachoikim Mitzdaka. So what does that mean? Rabbi Shmuel V'Mila Rabbi Yochanan V'Lasa Chadoma Kolayim Kulay Nizunim Bitzdaka. All the world sustained by Kodesh Baruch Hu's Tzidkis, the Haim and the Abire Leiv, the Talmidei Chachamim Nizunim B'Zroya. They go ahead with their own Zroya, with their own strength. They are sustained. The whole world is sustained by the tzaddikim. The Hema feel b'schus atzman in the Sudan, and they themselves they don't have their own schus. K'dav Yudam Rav, Namar Yudam Rav. B'chol yom v'yom bas kol yotzis me'hachoyrei v'aymeres. The bas kol comes out of hachoyr and says, "Kolom kulo nizunim b'shvil chanina b'ni." The whole world is sustained because chanina ben daisa. Chanina b'ni dailoi b'kav charuvin me'er Shabbos le'er Shabbos. Him is enough. He doesn't need any schusim. It's enough him a kav of baksa from one week to the next. Upligi the Rabbi Yehuda, Dam Rabbi Yehuda, Man Abiri Leiv, who would Abiri Leiv? It's not tzaddikim, but it's goyvai tipshoy. It's the nation goyvai of fools. So it's referring to pasuk, not referring to tzaddikim. It's Shimulai Abiri Leiv, Harachoikim Mitztaka. It's referring to Rishayim. I'm Rabbi Yosef Teda. How do you know these people? The whole Igayur Giyura Menayu. From this nation, the Gavai, you never had a ger. How is it possible you never had a ger? So you see that what? They distance themselves. It's stuck in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Amar Ravashi, this is Bnei Masa Machasya, the first, the goyim of Masa Machasya, Abiri Leivninu. You know why? The Chachazi, Yekara, the Uraisa, they see the covenant Torah, trades money b'shasa 2 times a year, and nonetheless, you never have a ger from Masa Machasya. Fabulous taisus here. Let's see this taisus inside. Trades Zimni b'shasa, Avodat Seres she'enu el yom echad lehoyu kol kach misastim. He said, twice a year, once by Elul for Sukkot and once by Adar for Pesach. But on Shavuos, which was one day, they didn't have the third. The third regal, we didn't have an asifa gathering for. V'shama nisas rachish lahu. And there, a nest happened by these gatherings. What was the nest? Listen to this. V'isi b'sefer itim shechava harav Rabbi Yehuda bar Bezilai sheshama shaya Amud shel eish yoyrid min hashamayim aleim. This is the Amoraim. This is Bimei Amoraim in Mas Machasya. This is Rabbi's town that they saw in those days when they had the gathering of the Talmidei Chachamim, the gatherings of Torah. Fire would come from Shemayim. Bekala de Elul, Bekala de Adar. The gathering Kala of Elul and Adar. It's amazing. In other words, it wasn't Pshat. They heard great different Torah and oh wow, I got to go every Megayah. They mamish saw a manifestation of the Shekhinah when the fire was yoyred, and therefore they were abirei lei rechoikim tzedakah. Therefore they were people who were very distant from Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Unbelievable. We said a chosin. We said he wants to learn Kriya Shema, he could, and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar said, Ben Gamliel said, not every person you should do that. It seems like you're a balgaiva if you do. When Meimer der Shmuel ben Gamliel that if you lay Kriya Shema, you show, oh, I'm not worried about the mitzvah of B, I'm not stirred, I can do it. No, he says it's mashma that he is chayish l'yara, therefore don't lay Kriya Shema. Rabbanan who allow you to lay Kriya Shema, loy chayish l'yara, that they're not chayish for gaiva. We heard the ibcha. It's mamish, it's like 2 days before Tisha B'av, and this Gemara comes in. Nan makom shenogu lasais malacha b'Tisha B'av, in a place where it's noig to do malacha and Tisha B'av, then you could do it. Makom shenogu shaloi lasas ein oisin, you can't do it. And b'chol makom, no matter what the minig is, talmidei chachamim betelim, talmidei chacham should not work. So, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer lo'olam yasa kol adam es atzmi k'talmid chacham. Go ahead and make yourself like a Talmud Chacham. So the Chachamim say a Talmud Chacham can't work. Mashma, everyone else could, but you can't make yourself like a Talmud Chacham. Shimon Gamliel says you could make yourself like a Talmud Chacham. So you see that the Chachamim over here are chayish for gaiva, yet by Chosin they're not. Shimon ben Gamliel by Chosin is chayish for gaiva, and here you're saying any person could not work. So you see that it's not chayish l'hirav. There's no kasha b'Rabbanan, no kasha of Shimon Gamliel and Shimon Gamliel. Rabbi Yochanan, the easiest way is switch it around. The Chacham said that you could work, and Shimon says no, you can't work. Right? Shimon Gamliel says no. Shimon Gamliel says you would have to work. The Chacham say no, you don't have to work. Don't switch. So what's the difference by Tisha B'av, where the Chachamim are chayish l'hira, and by Kriya Shema not? The Rabbanan don't like kasha. Kriya Shema kivin kulyama kokari, since everyone's laying in Kriya Shema, v'yunami kokari, and everyone and he's reading along. Like michse kiyara, they're not going to be umis what? Oh, you're special. They're saying, listen, the fact that it's a chassan saying Kriya Shema with them, since he's going along with the flow exactly what everyone does, no one's going to think differently of him, right? Mashen came over here, kivin kulyama of the malacha, everyone's working. He's michse. So the difference innately between Kriya Shema, by Kriya Shema, he does like everybody else. We're not chayish l'hira. By working where he's not doing like everyone else, where he's being playerish in the tzibur, then it seems like I'm better than you. Then the chacham chayish l'hira. What Rabbi Shimon Gamliel? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says by Kriya Shema we're chayish, and by Tisha B'av not, right? And Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Rabbi Shimon Gamliel like kasha pasam b'kavana talyim also. Over there by Kriya Shema, it's totally b'kavana, but not sadi loymatz b'chav b'daitei. There's no way if he's a chassan, he can't be mechaven. Therefore, we don't do it. Aval hacha, what are you going to say? That he's not working? They're going to say he's about gaiva. He doesn't have any work to do. The fact that he's not working, maybe he's like any other yokel. Go look in the street. Take a look in the shuk. How many batlanim there are? So the fact that he's not working, people will say he's no different than anybody else. Kriya Shema, you're learning Kriya Shema. How can you learn Kriya Shema? You're a chassan, and a chassan they can't possibly have kavanah. And if you do, you should go. I can have kavanah.